Hello, welcome to Wolf United WFC. Hello, welcome to Wolf United with me, John Foster, MUFC. It's been about a week or so since I've been on the show, so I've really missed it, and I've tuned into every show. So even though I've not actually been hosting or on the show, I've still been watching you guys, and you can still probably hear it in my voice. I have suffered with laryngitis for like the last week and a half or so, but it is gradually getting better. I just can't talk constantly for like more than 2 or 3 minutes without it kind of giving up on me. But welcome to the show, everybody. Nat, Matt, Ben, how you all doing?
Doing good. Happy to be
excellent, mate. Excellent.
Yeah, can't complain.
I feel like I missed a lot. I missed Jordan Bailey at the start of last week on a Sunday. I missed that kind of team photograph there where you all went there and had your photo taken with Jordan sponsoring a player. So I've kind of missed all that, which was a massive.
I missed that as well, mate. You're not the only one.
Oh, you missed it for a good reason, Ben. You was.
I was at Old Trafford, pal. You know,
exactly.
Watch us get absolutely annihilated, but
well, there was that as well. But yes, but we missed that. But I mean, the credit to the channel and obviously all us four are the ones who kind of put towards that with Gareth as well. So that was great to be a part of that. We've seen Toone score a hat-trick for the Lionesses. Absolutely buzzing for her. So the Euros draw. We've seen Jackie Groden that's going to be at LSV for the Euros, which is probably the game that I'm going to go to. Hello to everybody in the comments. Got quite a few people watching already. Thank you very much. Let's just, before we go on to a bit of a Toone special, obviously we all kind of met up yesterday, went our own different ways to watch a couple of games. Natalie, do you want to just kind of touch on the show yesterday? Because I thought it was a really good day.
Yeah, we went to me, John, Connor, Andy, Chloe. It was a big group of us, probably seen it on the socials put about. We went to Bristol. First time actually being down at Bristol because we've never gone with Man United. And now obviously they're in the Championship. So it's the first time at Bristol, any ground for them. And yeah, Bristol annihilated Sheffield, really. Sheffield United, team that, you know, has been close to Man United a lot. Lone FC, sort of call them. They're like the sisters. They've still got a player out there, Tara Bourne. She played centre-back. But yeah, it wasn't good for sort of anyone at Sheffield. The one I would say it was good for was Lucy Watson, and I know we've got some content coming out about that on Thursday, so check it out if you want to know a bit more about that, because it's a 17-year-old striker, top goal scorer, I think she is in the Championship or something like that. She's a quality player. No? Oh, well, it is
She's
what
about
it is.
fourth, I think. Beth Heppel leads it, Benny's mate, and then her Liverpool, Kernan. And I think she's but third is a good achievement for her age.
Yeah, 17-year-old. But she scored a cracker goal. And then Palmer just turned it on. The girl that we know is loving, no Palmer, no party. And she really proved that. Bang, corner in from her. Bang, big header, 1-1. Volley from her, 2-1. She scored another one from a corner, 3-1. And then it was just running riot, and she just dominated in the middle, just spraying the balls out. So it was good to see Palmer. And Bentley was just, apart from, the chance, there's a few chances that Sheffield had, and Bentley just had them all calm, composed, assured. So, it was good in that respect, seeing Bentley doing that, and obviously, seeing Palmer doing what she does best, back to her best football. So, it was a good day. And then obviously, Matt, you and Benny went down to Blackburn.
Yeah, do you know what? Really enjoyed that. Like, wasn't expecting it to kind of be 5 goals, to be honest. But like I said to some of you lot yesterday, I've not been since Toone was there about 2016. So to go back there and sort of catch up with people that, I'd sort of known from back then was good. And obviously, Blackburn were fully deserving of that win. I think it's unfortunate that they sort of let Cov back into the game with 2 goals. But listen, they deserved the win. So, we got a couple of very late goals. Coventry thought they'd nicked it as a draw, and then literally last second, keeper dropped it. And, it was a Blackburn winner from Ellie Leak. So, yeah, very, very good day. A little bit cold and wet, but you know what, we can't complain. But I'll let Benny give his thoughts, because I know it was your first time, I believe, watching both sides.
Typical Lancashire weather, that, mate. Rain. We love the rain. No, I've seen Blackburn before. I think I went down with Nat, like I said before. I think we were down there before.
Fair enough.
But it was the first time I've ever seen Cov United play. And I tell you what, for the team that they've got and the players that they've got, aren't they appalling? Really, a bunch of individuals, mate. They're not even playing as a team. It's like when people are saying about United's first team, they're a bunch of individuals and not a great side. You know, it was all about individual talent. I think that's exactly the same as Cov United in a way. I'm like, looking at it, every single player was poor, and I was like, really? I think Nom did her best, mate. Nom Hartley, you know, I know people know I'm a big fan of Nom's. You know, I think she did fantastically well, considering the players around her weren't doing their jobs, to be honest with you. She did what she had to do. I think now number 20, I cannot remember her name, but you know what I'm on about, Matt. She looked really decent on the ball. But apart from that, mate, I think absolutely poor, man. But Blackburn, to their credit, mate, were really, really good. But the thing that I was disappointed with Blackburn a little bit was when I said to you at 2-0 up, it's dangerous, and they're taking their foot off the gas, took the foot off the gas, and let them so cheaply let Cov back into the game. And it could have been so easy to Cov the other way, being 3-2 to Cov, and them getting a jammy late winner. But luckily for Blackburn, it was the Welsh number 1. I do forgive me, I can't remember her name. Matt, you'll know I'm on about. Wales' first choice goalkeeper stumbles it straight into the path of Blackburn player, 3-2. It's all that Blackburn deserved, mate. They deserved 3 points.
Yeah.
There, but go on, Nat.
Yeah, and I know Ben's just talked about Nom, someone who we really rate. I think we've rated, like I said, this is her shirt, number 12, Man United, OG21. She went to Sheffield, as we're saying, Lone FC, and Wednesday at 7:00, tune in. Nom Hartley, me and Nom, we talk. Just because of her schedule, we had to do it like this. I mean, yeah, would have been great. If it was a live one, I'm sure maybe, you know, get tuned in, get liking it, guys, get commenting. You know, it's going to be a big show. Just hearing, I suppose, from a Man United player, former Man United player, but you know how it was when the team was formed, how it was, you know, Casey meeting the players, all that kind of thing. So definitely tune into that one. And you got a prize at the end. Well, not a prize, but you know, some good news for everyone, especially coming up to Christmas. So definitely tune in, watch all the way to the end. You'll like the end bit. But yeah, Nom Hartley on All for United is going to be a great, great thing, and I can't wait. And you know, everyone, all the shows that we do, it's coming true. Can't wait. It's going to be a good one.
That's it. And Matthew always take the mick out to be saying that I'll keep saying that this is the best guest that we've ever had. Well, I think, in my opinion,
this one will be hands down.
You know, as a United channel, former United player actually on here, this is something that's really good. And well done, Nat, for actually, you know, getting that off the line. Thank you. Right, this is a Toone special, so I want to talk a bit about past, present, and the future. So obviously, we'll discuss the past and present, and then I'll dip out halfway through. Rest my voice. It's a bit like I'm coming back from injury. I don't need to play the full 90 minutes. So I just play the one half, and then I can dip off. And Andy, and somebody else, Connor. That's the one. Andy and Connor can both join in. Connor's backstage right now. But yeah, let's go over to something that's going to really get ready for Ella Toone.
Ella Toone, how old are you? 22. Position? Midfielder.
When I signed her, I saw a lot of potential. You know, having signed her when I played against her, the give and goes, the way she created new space, there was potential there. But she was the first on the training pitch, the last to leave. You know, she worked on a game, she watched her clear.
No, Toone can get on the ball, turn players, and she's got a brilliant eye for the passes. So I knew she was going to do that pass. We do it in training. And she came up to me straight away. She went, it's finally paid off.
Ella has been magic in absolute near every game. She's had moments of magic, and we expect that from her.
Toone's on fire! Your defense is terrified! Toone's on fire! Your defense is terrified! Toone's on fire! Your defense is terrified! Toone's on fire! Boom! La, 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 la.
Connor's making some absolutely brilliant videos the past few weeks and a few months, and that was one of Connor's there that he's made himself, compiled it. But the one thing that gets me there is you can learn how to kick a ball, but you can't learn that passion. And seeing what she did against City, stepping up to be that leader, getting in the referee's face, that's something that's going to stick with me. I've watched that video right there. I'm just going to come to a comment. Nat, I'll bring you in on the first question here. Ugly Bear is on about getting Ella Toone on a long-term contract. Thoughts on that
100%, 100%. Like, for me, I think I don't know when it runs out. I think it's next year, probably with an option. But for me, I'd be like looking at getting her to sign a deal now. Going into Christmas, and then 4 or 5 year deal. It shouldn't be a 3+1. It should be a 4, maybe then an option on that, And I know that sounds like a lot for women's football, but Chelsea are doing it. That's what we should be doing it. She's come through the ranks, homegrown, and like what Mark Skinner said at the end, magic. We're getting magic from her every minute. goal or assist every game. For me, when you got a player like that, and she's starting for the Lionesses, and she's having a mad influence there as well. So for me, when you're having a player like that, it's easy. She's easily our best player. I know a lot of people talk about, Jackie this and Honor that, and I love Honor as well as much as anyone. But Toone is our best player. Toone should be playing in the 10. Now we're seeing the best from her. Even when she was playing that false 9, that Leicester goal, bang, false 9. It's we don't really want to see her playing false 9, but you have to do what you have to do. We should be playing Toone. And I've seen Ian saying there, listen, give her the contract now. I'm not trying to say be funny, but give her the contract now, put it in front of her face and say, bang, you want to sign this. And then, after that, then people can think about it. I mean, yeah, she's would probably, be like, I could go anywhere. So, yeah, she might think, well, do I want to sign that? Probably where we're at. But for me, I think she's, like we said, about getting in the best place, United through and through, fans back, adored, born and red, as we say, born and bred, red. So, for me, if someone gave me a 4-year deal at United, yeah, I'd box it off. But, it's up to her. I think there should be negotiating now. I don't know. I mean, we know that they normally start, and we start hearing about it in January, don't we? End of January. But for me, that's what she should be getting. It's clear. And if they're not doing that, I don't know what they're doing. Lose all faith, like Vicky says. If you can't keep Toone, what are you doing? What are you doing with this women's team? Yeah.
And if she decides that she wants to leave as well, then something's wrong with it. It's simple as that. Matt, I want to talk to you a little bit about the history. Obviously, I think you go further back with Ella than anybody else. But just before you do you just want to touch on TJ Treck's comments there, just regarding the shortness of women's contracts? Obviously, it's gradually getting better. We've seen Hanson and maybe 1 or 2 others on a 2+1 year deal or even a 3-year deal. But that's like a big advantage for the women's game.
Yeah, I think sort of to answer the question why they're so short, it's pretty much down to money. I think if you look at it and you look at sort of the money involved in the game, okay, laying out for, like Natalie mentioned, if we said to Toone, right, here's a 3, 4, 5-year deal, we're going to pay you whatever amount a year, let's say 80 grand a year, for example, and you're laying that out year on year for 4 or 5 years. For some clubs, that might be a lot. For Man United, it shouldn't be a lot. The difficulty is that when clubs want to buy players, and this is why you see so many free transfers, they can't afford to pay the remainder of the contract to buy them. The agent fees, if they have an agent, plus the transfer fees and the wages. So you tend to see a lot of clubs, and especially if you've got somebody that's a young talent, and then, for example, let's use LJ. Didn't play much when we had her injured, probably on an okay wage, but things like that. So I think if clubs are laying out a big amount of money on their star player and they spend 2 or 3 years injured, it's sort of seen as like money lost. But I think one thing I sort of criticize, not necessarily contracts, but transfers, is there are a lot of freebies. It's like there's been instances where I think of when we paid something like 30 grand for Aurora Mickelson to lose her on a free for Spurs, and we're ripping up contracts. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a sec, or letting them expire. Why don't we try and recuperate some of this money, And obviously it's not as straightforward as that. I get that. But they do offer like short-term, 1 year, 2 year. You might see, like I mentioned, the option simply because of a financial sort of perspective. We talked about Coventry earlier, and Benny talked about how many good players they've got. Can you imagine if they had to pay for those? They wouldn't have half the players they had because they simply don't have the budget. So it's more favoured towards the smaller clubs and the clubs with no money to enable them to have a squad and a competitive squad or a half competitive squad. But yeah, it's one of them. I think contracts will come, when the money increases from TV and you get more sponsorships, clubs can be a little bit more flexible. And obviously you see your top clubs now, offering sort of 3-4 year deals. But yeah, that hopefully answers the question for you, John.
So yeah, just go back there, memory lane, and Matt, for anyone who's never heard the story between you and Ella, where you first met Toone, because obviously I know that you're from the same area as Toone.
Yeah.
I know there's a few people on the show that may have heard you a little bit before, but it is a bit of a Toone special. So if you go back a little bit, you was the first one to kind of meet her.
Yeah, so it comes in two parts, actually, to be fair. I obviously worked in professional football and still do some grassroots stuff as well. And basically I started, I'm doing under 19s football at the minute, and I took them when they were 6. So obviously they're a little bit younger than Toone, but at the time we were starting up and we used to train on the AstroTurf, and the hour later the girls team that Ella played for used to train. And I think it was about a good month or so they were without a manager, and they were sort of like having a couple of parents come and take sessions, but nothing really, too involved. And we were sort of looking for a coach. And at the time, I just sort of started out doing like at this sort of grassroots level. So yeah, and I think Toone would have been probably about 7, maybe 8, possibly. So in terms of memories, like, I didn't, until like we had a conversation, obviously years later, didn't even realize like, sort of who she was, so to speak. And then, yeah, it sort of come from there. I helped out with that for about, like I say, about a good month. There was myself and the other bloke that I run the football with. We just stepped in and said, listen, we'll do it until you can get somebody permanent in place. And then somebody came in and took over. And then it was probably when she was, I think it was year 8. She'd have been 12. Obviously through my work as well, I didn't just do football, I did some other things as well, and did a little bit of tennis. And then obviously back sort of high school when she was there, bumped into each other, shall we say. Coached her at tennis as well and things like that. So she became very good at that. But Toone was one of them. She'd do any sport, literally anything you could offer her, she would do it, literally. So it was kind of like that, really. And then just stemmed from there. And obviously, coached with her uncle as well. So I know the family quite well. I've worked, her dad's got a car garage. So I've obviously, go to him for all car related things. And my dad knows him well as well. I know Karen really well as well, her mum, through school, because she works in a school as well. So yeah, it's kind of been a full journey, really. And then obviously, like I say, that was my women's football journey. It was obviously starting off, she was at Blackburn at the time. And she was literally in that first team from about, I think, the age of 15, something ridiculous like that. But she was banging in the goals for fun. And yeah, it just kind of stemmed from there. But it's interesting, Vic's Toone competitive at everything. It wasn't even just competitive at everything. I think it was, John, you talked about sort of that, how you describe it as like sticking up for teammates and that sort of, that edge of what you need. And I think she was like that. She was sort of, what's his name? Toone was 7, you were 12. No. Older. Don't out me, John. Yeah, competitive at everything and wanting to win everything and literally cleaning up in every single sport as well. So yeah, it's just absolutely, crazy. But yeah, phenomenal. And the work rate and dedication, you saw it on Connor's video there, sort of comments from Casey, and I'm sure if you speak to other people as well, they'll say similar, just that desire to want to win and to want to do your best and improve, no matter whether it was football or, something else.
Matt, just one question before I bring Ben in, just on that. So, as like a teenager, how difficult was it, say, 10 years ago then, from your experience within sport and school, to actually get from that level that she was at to where she, is now? I mean, how difficult would that journey become? Because not everyone can go from that level to where she's now. Just kind of explain a little bit about what she would have had to go through to get to Manchester United for a start.
Yeah, well, obviously she started off as, as most people know, sort of in the academy or centre of excellence, I think they called it back then. But yeah, I think it's crazy because obviously when you're going through this process, and I think what people don't see for me is the sacrifice, like the hours they put in. You think, oh, well, 14, 15, 16. Nah, but honestly, you could take, for example, like say a birthday party or something like that, or somebody's wedding, and they'd be like, no, we've got to train, we're missing it. So I think things like that, I think of when, trying to think, year 11, and I keep going back to this under-17s World Cup in Jordan, and Alessia Russo was there as well. And even something like that, she was doing the GCSEs at the time, and this World Cup was in Jordan, and they had to fly out the exam invigilator to Jordan for her to take part in her exams, because obviously they were going on at the time when all the kids were here and she was out there doing a World Cup. And it's things like that that people don't realise. So she'd be like playing a game, finish all that and like the warm down and everything, any media duties, and then be straight back to the team hotel to sit, like, for example, a maths exam, for an hour or two. Yeah. Obviously juggling, revising in with training as well. It's just, it's crazy because people just think it's, oh yeah, it's football. Yeah, well, they turn up, a couple of hours, they train. It's like, no, there's a lot more. Obviously you've got your meals as well and things like that to sort of do and prepare. So there was a lot of sacrifices, there's things, and there's times where obviously, we took her to tennis competitions, like to represent Great Britain and England nationally. And I think out of the sort of four years that she was in high school, when I was obviously like coaching and teaching her, I think she made 2 out of the 4, and that was literally due to football. She was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Oh, I can't, I've got England, and things like that. So it's like I say, it's sacrificing and prioritizing things. You want to go out with your mates and you can't. She was obviously, like I say, juggling football and exams. And I know when she left Blackburn, she went to City. That was sort of juggling, because obviously that was full time. You see, in Blackburn wasn't. So juggling full time training to then have to go home, revise for your A levels, and then sit those as well. This was all while she was trying to obviously break through at City, which didn't happen. Loaned back to Blackburn, it's a lot of sort of moving around and upheaval. But listen, fair play to her. She's got there, and she deserves everything. Just like I say, just through sheer work rate, hard work, and effort, and the willingness to want to win and learn. So yeah, absolutely, just delighted for her. So proud.
Excellent. Yeah, Ben, I was thinking, just maybe share one or two of your favourite memories of Toone, or when you think back of Toone over the 3.5 years. What comes to mind, or what kind of moments come to mind?
Mate, to be fair, every time that I always go on about what makes a great Manchester United player, and I always think now, Toone is the absolute archetype of everything that you want. Hard work rate, passion, willing to work on and off the ball, hard during the game, She's very, very rarely stands there, She's not one of those players that just stand there and wait for the ball to come to her, or stand there, let the game go by her. She's always looking to get stuck in. The work rate is absolutely unbelievably good. And I might say that about Hanson. People might say, well, you said that about Hanson, Ben. But if there is anyone to actually maybe overhaul Hanson in the hard-working department, it's got to be Ella Toone. She's come from absolutely nowhere. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
From a championship side, when she joined United, and now into a full England international now, mate. You know what I mean? And a full England international that's taken the international stage by storm. She's not just playing a bit part role. She's not just got a chance by luck. She's got a chance by hard work that she's been putting in at Manchester United. And she's been scoring goals for the national side now as well. She's not just being a bit part player where, she's just done it. Maybe she did a couple of little save passes and everything. She's willing to take the risk. She's willing to take to do anything to make sure that she keeps her place in that Lioness side. She's done. Mate, I can't fault her. I can't see any player displaced her at the minute in that national side. And people might say, "Oh, once a couple more of the experienced players sort of maybe come available again from back from injury and what have you, she might get displaced then." But why should she? Why should she get displaced from that England side? You know, based on her current form for club and country, not a chance she should be displaced for me. And I did ask Matt and Gareth on my show on Saturday, will the Euros become maybe the Ella Toone show in a way, whereas Ella Toone, like when Rooney did in Euro 2004, for example, teenage kid, took the game by storm, took the tournament by storm. Could maybe Toone do that? And then both wise have said maybe it's a tournament too soon. Maybe you're looking at the World Cup the following year, which is, or the following couple of years, which is true. Fair enough. It could be, that could be a time. But I think, mate, looking back on the player that I first saw in the Championship till now, mate, it's been an absolute drastic change. And it's all down to her, all down to the hard work. We praised Casey Stoney in the past for the development of Ella Toone, but I also think it's equally important to also praise Ella Toone for her development. Making sure she's going that extra mile in training, staying back later, or being the first to training, doing the extra bit of hard work. You can tell that Ella Toone's a United player through and through. She's at a club that she loves, club that she supports all her life. She wants it really bad. And I've said before in previous shows, United can so easily show you up when things aren't going right. You're not putting the effort in, you're not putting the hard yards in. There's no hiding place at Manchester United. But equally, when things are going right, when you are putting the extra work and you're putting the extra miles in, you can so easily tell at United. You know what I mean? The pressure on her shoulders must be huge as well. The more she does well, especially now that LJ's gone as well. The more that she does well, the more she establishes herself in the England side as well. Especially the more pressure that's going to come on her shoulders now. She's going to be. Everyone's going to look at her being at United's linchpin now. United's go-to girl. If we're struggling in games, where's Ella Toone? We need to get the ball to Toone. Toone will do something. Toone will get a goal. Toone will set up a goal. Toone will make that run into positions where she can at least make the goalkeeper work. And I think credit to her, she's handled that pressure really well so far in a young career. Everything's coming pretty quick and fast at her. And she's done really superbly. So we need to acknowledge the mental side of the game as well and how she's mentally coped with that and coped very, very well. Some players sink under that pressure. Some players, especially playing for Man United, that pressure's a lot different to any other club that you're going to play for. The press are always on you. The media are always sniffing around. Fans have expectations. There's that horrible side of social media that we've seen that various players have had to go through, when they're getting slagged off and they're getting brutally criticised. So it's very, very hard this day and age for a young player to take that on board and to deal with stuff mentally. And she's done absolutely fantastically, mate. Very rarely has a bad game for Man United. I don't think she's ever been below a 7 out of 10 game. Even when we have been playing bad, I've never really I've never really ever come on a show where Toone were bad today, wasn't she? Really getting the game. Because every game that you see Toone, even if it is one of her quiet games, she's always making something happen. She's always looking to make something happen. And that's credit to herself, mate. And I just can't praise her enough, mate. She's really, really, really impressed me. And I think that's pretty much said she was the most improved player that I've seen back ages ago, maybe a good 12 months ago when we first started out this. And I said, I think Toone is one of them players that have really impressed, really sprung on leaps and bounds. And I just think that she really has developed really quickly in that time. And it's down to the coaches as well. The coaches at United, some people might say, have we got the right coaches set up? People might say, is Matt Skinner the right person? But look, she's continued to develop under Matt Skinner as she was under Casey Stoney. So credit has to go to the current manager as well. There's the current members of the coaching staff as well. They all have a bit to play in that. They all have a part to play. You know, every little component that Ella has there, you know, every little step she takes, you know, they turn into massive strides. You know, I just think that, and as Johnson's there, she's got a great way of finding space. We always know that, and the late runs that she can, when she does play a little bit deeper and she gets to the box, is second to none. She's probably the best in our team at doing that. I don't think there's another player that can do that, in my honest opinion. People might say Jackie might be able to do that, but I think Ella Toone's head and shoulders above Jackie in that sort of ability to break in that box late and get herself on the end of shots, get herself into goal scoring opportunities, or maybe opportunities where she can then lay the ball off again and assist somebody else in scoring a goal. Yeah, I'm really impressed, mate, and I better shut up and let someone else speak, so I can go.
You waffled longer than I have, Benny.
I know, mate, I know. I do apologise.
I'll come in there then. So, obviously, you guys have spoken about commitment and mentality and her ability on the field. I want to come at it like a slightly different way as well. I want to talk a little bit about COVID, when there's no social media activity on the Twitter accounts or all this kind of stuff. It was Ella Toone and Millie Turner who was kind of doing their best to kind of keep us entertained. So I just want to kind of give a shout out on that. I know I've done it on previous shows as well, but for us who was like crying out for content, not knowing when our next game was going to be, not knowing anything that was going on, that was the one that was kind of keeping our spirits up. And that was for me when I kind of changed my favourite players, I guess. I think I probably kind of swapped from maybe like the Jess Sigsworth and the Leah Galtons, who I used to love watching play, to all of a sudden watching Millie and Toone, and they kind of, you know, hearing their interviews and their little short podcasts and some questions and answers that they was doing on MUTV, all this kind of stuff. Not just a little TikTok videos, but just everything that they kind of contributed to on social media. It's such a tough time. That kind of made me think, yeah, they didn't need to do that, you know, and it didn't need to be those two people that did it, but it was. And I just think that we spoke about future captaincy, and I use the word ambassador. I've used it 3 or 4 times now, and I just think that the way people look up to Toone in totally different ways, I think, you know, it needs to be recognised. So that's the kind of thing that I want to shout out. I'm going to duck out now. I want to bring 2 more fans in who wants to have their say. It's been great to come back on the show. I've got through a whole bottle of water already, so I need to rest my voice for Thursday's show. But Nat, I'm just going to lead you into with what you want to say as well, and I'll bring Connor and Andy in.
Substitution time.
Yeah.
The game changers. And that's what I want to...
It's a virtually to do that, don't I? I need to sort of tap on, you know.
Yeah, that's what I want to sort of say, that Toone is. She's a game changer. She... You know, I think it's a comment that I'm seeing from Vix. Everyone thought LJ was a star girl, but, you know, Toone's overshadowing her. I don't think, you know, we're talking about OG21. We've got Nom on. That was a player that we were very excited for. Obviously, you know, she's now at Cov doing her thing. Palmer, another player we're very excited for. Now at Bristol doing her thing. Great things. You know, Ebony Salmon even, you know, doing great things at Louisville. I don't think, and I will say, I don't think I thought Ella Toone, out of all those youngsters, you know, there's a game, I think you even came down, and even when we went to the Under-19 World Cup and the qualifiers, I know Toone was a bit above that age bracket, but I don't think, you know, myself personally, you know, I know Johnson's talked about Millie, but, you know, Zelly, who's captain now, those were the names that were talked about, like, sort of the most at the start as youngsters that were going to break through in England, and when LJ makes a debut. And I just think Toone has quietly gone under the radar, done it. And if we look at sort of the second season, just before COVID struck, she wasn't really playing a lot. You know, it was a midfield of Ladd, Zellum and Groningen. And, you know, Toone was just getting her chances in the cup games against, you know, Leicester. She got 5 goals there. You know, she was coming off the bench and influencing games. I remember at Kings Meadow, she hit the post, and there's still probably talk of did that cost the line and all that kind of stuff. But she would come on and influence it rather than sort of starting. And it was the COVID year when we were all behind closed doors, and that's been her year really. That's led to a shine. And I just want to, no offense, guys, on the top. Obviously, our 2 super subs have come in, so I just want to touch on, I suppose, how you feel, Andy, of Toone, and just sort of, like I said, that journey that she's had with Man United. Obviously, I know Matt's talked about the start and, you know, Blackburn and City, but then obviously, you know, OG21, you were there from the start, Toone, and then obviously the way she's sort of come and made herself the front runner in our team.
Yeah, completely. I mean, the thing is as well, I was just checking it then. I keep checking it every week because I still don't believe it. She just turned 22. You know, I mean, I say it as a one-liner, but it's true. She could technically still play for the Devs. Like, you know, she really is early on in her career. And I kind of see her as a bit of a metaphor for us as well as a club, to be honest. She's come under the radar. She's youth. She's really starting to smash it a little bit. And to be honest, it makes you think, actually, how many other sort of like, you know, players have we got that could follow the same way with just a bit more TLC, a little bit more development and a bit more time. I mean, I was just obviously listening a little bit to everyone's conversation earlier, and I've just found an article, a quote that she did on the FA's website, and you know, she's just shows the developments now. I mean, she says, "quote I think I'm getting a bit more experience now in the WSL. I feel like as a team, we all look up to each other because we all bring different styles and different things. The girls look up to me to bring goals and assists at the weekend, and hopefully, I can keep doing that." And that's the next stage, isn't it? She's already starting to become a leader on the pitch, you know, even at her age, and she's owning that and acknowledging that. And I think that's another sort of quality you can see in her, you know, both in the interviews, you know, and obviously we saw that one that went on social media and we were singing a song and after Birmingham and she's doing a little dance. That takes being relaxed, that takes being confident and professional. And I think she's got it in her media and in her play. And I think it's very exciting as a United fan.
Connor, obviously I don't know how much you saw of Toone, you know, last year, the COVID season, but obviously just watching her now, how does it feel, Man United fan?
Well, do you know what's interesting? When I did a little thing when I first came into the women's game earlier, like the start of the season, I asked pretty much everyone the same question on shows, privately, whatever. Who are the players to look out for? Ella Toone was not mentioned by anyone. Funnily enough, it was. I'm not going to go into who was named, but the players that were named were not players that I think are performing at the minute that well. So it's interesting, you know. Everyone's kind of said she's kind of gone under the radar a bit, and that's living proof. Nobody, you know, as a new fan, nobody said to me, "Oh, you want to watch her? You know, she's the star of this team." Whereas what I've seen, she is, and I said famously on a show that I can't remember whether it was a fan cam reaction or what show it was. I did a few weeks ago. That she's probably the closest to world class that we've got, because I do think she is. I'm looking at the other players we've got in the team. We've got good players, of course we have, but I think Toone's potential is bigger than what we've got elsewhere in the squad. And that's not a criticism of anyone else in the squad. It takes a lot to get to that level, and I think she's got it. And what the one positive I said to everyone, and I think this was mentioned earlier in the show, she's not. I think Benny said it. She's not gone into England and just gone, yeah, you know, a bit daunting, you know, coming in with all these big names kind of thing. We were doing a show live. I was almost turned into a watch along, and I was so impressed. She literally took that game on her own. Like, you'd think she'd been playing for England for 15 years. It was ridiculous. She was like completely running the show. Everything went through her. You've seen it in the most recent international with United. I compared her to Bruno Fernandes, and I don't really like comparing the men's and the women's, but it is like that. Every time the midfield pick the ball up, right, where's Ella? They're not looking at anyone else. Their first thought is, where's Ella? And that's the influence she has, whether that's false 9, whether that's 10. It is what it is. But yeah, I just think she's that good because you can tell, you know, how good players are with their influence on the pitch if that's players' first thought. Because ultimately, the players on the pitch know this, you know, the players around them better than we do as fans because they're playing with them and training with them. The fact that they're looking to her every time, you can see it when we go and watch Spurs away on Sunday. Just watch the midfield and the two centre backs when they pick the ball up. Their first thought is, where's Ella? So yeah, I just can't speak highly enough of her because, like I said, it wasn't really brought to my attention. Obviously, you know, people spoke about the whole squad, that we've got a good squad, but it wasn't, you know, I didn't think she was going to be this good. With the way she's playing, I would have thought I'd have been told at the start of the season, oh God, you want to really watch her. She's, you know, the real beacon of this team, but that wasn't the case. So yeah, long may it continue, because I mean, we're only 5 games into the season, and look at her stats already. You think of the numbers she could have if she stays fit for the rest of the year.
I think I think what Marty says, you didn't ask the right people, because I know Craney would definitely be banging on about Toone being one of the best. And I think it's not favourites, but it's like, who's your favourites? Who do you feel most to? And obviously, I think everyone knew Toone. You know, she's our all-time top goal scorer, I think. And I think she broke that last year. She's in that 10. She was always going to be the 10, you know, no matter who came in. Toone was always going to be sort of starting as the 10 no matter what. So Matt, you know, what do you think? She's playing as the 10 now. Do you see her being there as that for, you know, for the rest of her career? I know obviously we've seen her as a false 9, and I don't think a lot of us liked it. But could you see her maybe going up top, going on the wing? You know, we've seen her in 3 different positions, really. So what do you think? And you've known her longer than everyone. Do you think it's the number 10 now locked in for her?
I think so, yeah. I think, you know, I mean, you had conversations, didn't we, on this and that, talking years ago now, probably in season 1, possibly going in season 2. And I said, listen, she played as like a right winger or a wide forward at Blackburn, and she was scoring like 35, 40 goals a season there from that position. Now, obviously, granted, that was lower divisions, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but it wasn't sort of, you know, WSL, and it wasn't Championship. Now, I did say, I think it was might have even been season 1, possibly the Charlton game. I think she came on. And I think that was the game when I was in a box with sort of family and friends, and they put her in that 10 position. And I remember turning around and saying, what the hell is going on here? Like, this isn't where she plays. And I was all a bit confused. And then I think, you know, slowly, I think we won that game 4-1. I think slowly you could see. And I remember sort of the first year in the WSL, and obviously she didn't play much. And, you know, when she did again, she played 10. And I think after a while, especially last season, you really saw her grow into that role. And, you know, like Connor said before, you can see people looking for the pass. I don't even think they need to look for the pass. I think they know where she's going to move. And if you watch, I think it was it John that said it further up in the comments, a movement and a decision making is that good. She's very intelligent with the way she plays. So I think at the time for me anyway, it took a bit of getting used to, because I was like, no, listen, you're scoring 35, 40 goals a season. You need to be playing where you're scoring that many goals. But I think for what she brings, like I say, her intelligence, her passing, a link-up play, her creativeness, I think 10 suits. And I think it's not only a credit to Casey, but that's a credit to herself. You know, we've all talked about a mindset and a work rate. And it'd be easy, wouldn't it, to spit your dummy out and say, no, that's not my position, I'm not doing that, blah, blah, blah. But to go away to work at it, to take on board information, to spend extra time getting it right, which I know full well she's done, to do pre-season before pre-season, and to go to coaches and say, listen, what can I do? Can I do more? Where do I need to improve? You know, testament to her herself. So I think for me, yeah, just to wrap it up before I waffle on, I think number 10 now for me, absolutely. She could easily play the rest of her career as a 10, absolutely smash it. And, you know, when she's obviously mid-30s, and she might need to maybe change positions depending on, you know, sort of fitness and things like that. But I have no doubts the next 10 years anyway, at least for me, she needs to be a 10.
And here's a comment on screen. I just want to, Ben, you know, what do you think about Toone? I think a lot of people do say now she's a 10, but touch on what Matt says and then touch on this from Ugly Bear, because I think we know that Toone is our first choice. You know, we've all sat here now and said Toone is our best player. But do you think there is enough competition? Because I know people have been mentioning LJ throughout the comments, and that was that kind of, you know, who's going to play in that role, really. But now LJ's not there. Toone has that role. I mean, I know there's Stanley there, but do you think there needs to be more competition, like Ugly Bear says, to sort of push her on even more, push her to that world class?
With regards to the number 10 position first, I think, yeah, definitely keep her there now. Let her develop a game there now. Let her settle down there, because she could ultimately be absolute world class in that position, the best in the world over the next 5 years or so, you know. So just let her develop there now. If you need to occasionally play out on the right or play as a false 9, then fair play, you know. If we've got injuries in the side, and we've got no one else there, then yeah, absolutely. But now predominantly number 10 for me. As for competition, though, people could have said that about Paul Scholes. You know, where's his competition at Manchester United? We had Nicky Butt behind him. You had a number of decent players in that central midfield role that could have took his position. David Beck could have played central midfield as well. But he always kept himself ahead of everybody else. I think that's exactly the same as Toone. I think she's got the right mental attitude to always push herself to the next level. Whether we have somebody that maybe comes in to push her, to keep her pushing the team, or whether somebody that we have got currently, like you said, standing forth maybe to push her, I think there's always going to be that certain pressures. But listen, standing forth will want to always play as many games as she possibly can. So a lot of competition in that central midfield role. As well with Jackie, with the likes of Jackie Haley and Katie Zellum as well. Got a lot of they've got quite a few options and different ways of playing that'll always keep her on her toes. And the more that she keeps playing for the national side as well, the more competition she's going to get there as well to keep her on her toes. Listen, I don't think Toone is one of them players that'll just look at it and go, oh, I'm settled now. No one's going to take my place. She's not going to be complacent like that. She knows, I think, at club and country level, there's always going to be a chance where if she has a run of a couple of pole games, that there's going to be a player there that will easily snap her position up. So there's always going to be competition. I don't think she's one of those players that in her head she's going to be complacent. She's going to let it get to her head now. She's going to think that she's made it now, or she's not going to be one of those that will sit there and go, oh, I made it England now. I've made my debut now. I'm settling the England side. I'm settling the United side. I don't need to do any more. She's not that type of player. You can tell. She, as Craig mentioned before, she'll always go to the coaches. What can I do better? What can I do next? What can I do to take my game to the next level? To become one of the most feared players in Europe, and then hopefully one of the most feared players across the world. What can I do? I see in her what I see in a young Wayne Rooney in a way as well. That sort of what can I do next? What's the next level? Or even a young Cristiano, if you like, as well. What's the next? How can I get myself better? What is the next step? What's the next evolution in my game? How can I evolve my game, becoming the absolute best in Europe or the absolute best in the world, the absolute best in the WSL? And I think that's credit to her, mate. I think she's got parents there. I mean, Craig will know the parents a lot more than I have. That will keep her level to the ground. Won't let her go and get big-headed and get ahead of herself. I think she's quite rooted like that, and she's got friends and teammates around her that won't let that happen either. So, I think be excited. Let's be very excited because the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to be on an absolute ride and a half with Ella, I think, and she will be the catalyst of where we're going to go, I think. She's going to, I think it's, I'm going to make this bold claim now. I think United will build a team around her now. I really do. I think United will look to build a team around her. Yes, people might say, we got Jackie Groden. No. No disrespect to Jackie. World-class player, great player. Build this team around Ella too now. And let's see where we're going.
Yeah, I think the age different, isn't it? I think it's like two. Like you said, no disrespect to Jackie. She's that level. She's done it on the World Cup final kind of stage, and that's where we want Toone to be. And obviously, I think we sort of touched on it early on. We want Toone to be here for a while, and like I was saying before, 3-4 year contract. I mean, Matt, Connor, I don't know if anyone should jump in, and I'm going to ask Andy what he thinks. Maybe they've learned off some world-class players, but go on, Matt.
No, I'll just quickly jump in. I was going to say, with sort of regards to what Benny was saying, I think he was talking about, people rivaling her in that position. And I think, as much as people slate Lionesses in the Olympics and Team GB, I think that's probably done her more favours than maybe training at United. And I don't mean that in a horrible way to any member of staff or player, but, Benny was right. I think Staniforth is her rival for 10. You put her in the England setup, you've got Fran Kirby, you put her in GB, you've got Kim Little. And I think that's the difference in that training with those players that have been there and done it and won things and played at the top level is going to be the difference. And, I was absolutely buzzing. I remember a conversation years ago in the Lionesses account actually tweeted by accident a call up for Ella Toone to the senior team. And I nearly fell off my bed. I was absolutely buzzing. And then they deleted it and I messaged her and she's like, no, I wish that's not happening anytime soon. I think it was about 18 months later, she got a first call up. So it just goes to show that, right training environment and the right hard work and, to take to them levels. But, don't make no mistake. A lot of it is herself, obviously, and applying herself. But like I say, those environments with them players definitely benefit her from that sort of top level experience.
Yeah, I can just jump on the back of 2 points that was made. Benny was saying there about Skinner might start building the team around. I think he already is, if I'm being totally honest. I think you've seen it in the last couple of games. I think he's already got his eye on building the team around her, because there's nobody else this season, before everyone jumps on my back, there's nobody else this season that has stood out apart from Ella, really. You could obviously look at the fullbacks have played well, but Ella's been a level above. And I said this after Durham, that we played all right in that game. Ella came on and it wasn't even like, a little bit of a level above. She was so clear of everyone else on that pitch. You could tell as soon as she came on. And the second point, what Matt was talking about, internationals. Now, I slate internationals all the time because I just don't like it. But in Ella's case, it is good because she's got so many people, and obviously the Euros next year, there's competition there. And every player has got the mind. People might disagree. But every player has got a mindset of playing for the country, performing on the national stage. And if you've got your eye on that, she's going to be performing. You'll see this all season. A lot of players will play better this year because of they'll have their eye on the Euros next year. And because Ella in her position, there's a lot of good English players there. She's got a lot of competition. So, and I don't think she's the kind of player that will lose that kind of the attitude and work rate anyway. Just from what I've seen, she's one of them players. She wants. You see her, in games. She plays as a 10. She'll be at left back. She'll be helping the centre backs out. She'll be up, on the right wing at times. It's like she's everywhere. So I don't think she'll ever lose that. But the influence of the Euros and the national team will help push this season. And like I said, the competition for places when you're looking at World Cups and all these kind of things moving forward. So it's only good things. But
sorry, mate. Sorry, I just cut you up there.
No, go for it. I was done.
No, I agree with you. I think her playing there for, like you said, Stanley's that competition at United, but then her playing with, your Kirby and all these kind of people for national team is beneficial. That's why, in a way, I'm happy when I see, Leslie called up, even though we didn't really want her injured, but you are happy when you see the younger ones called up because you're thinking, yes, they're going to improve now. Andy, obviously, Connor mentioned something and it just made me think, and, John's still in the background, and he suggested
he's everywhere, John.
Yeah. He suggested this.
Can't get rid of him.
It's something what Marty sort of said. World class is a big word, and for me, I get where Connor's coming from. She is that potential, but I don't think she is yet. But someone who we saw, Connor, hold your beer. Tobin Heath and even Kristen Press, they are world class. Period. And obviously, just what she would have got that season, because she's a different player now after playing with them. 100%. And Tobin is world class. Different class, different kettle of fish, and that's where she'll want to be, though, isn't it? And so I just want to, what do you think she's got from that? Because out of everyone, she seems to have taken so much from it.
I think, we all saw the comments that was being made and such like off the players. I think she probably learned how to lead a little bit from that, because she learned so much from Tobin. And I wouldn't be surprised if, because she's showing that skill, there might have been like a conversation where it's like, well, you can teach that as well. Yeah, but I'm only 22. Doesn't matter. That kind of, and that might start the sort of thought process. Yeah, but you know how to do that. You do this, you do that. And I can imagine probably as a person, in the sense of learning about how to become a professional, how to, get the fitness right, get the consistency right, and how to deal with maybe the transition to international football. Because obviously, it's well documented with the previous England manager, who I used to joke said probably lost all the Man United phone numbers. He had a bit of a weird view on United players, whereas Serena seems to be having a much better form view, on Ella. And I think the best thing, the thing that makes it most likely that she's going to be world class and that she's going to get the opportunity is chicken and egg with the internationals. She's going to play for United. Now, okay, if you want to compare with Fran Kirby, yeah, she's going to play with Chelsea as well. But is she going to start every single game? Whereas if you're an England manager, you've got one of your most exciting players at United who's going to play. And that's always a problem when it comes to England sometimes, obviously getting that sort of ability. But I think, I'd imagine it's that confidence, that believe in yourself kind of thing. Because I think Tobin, exuded that as well as a skill in her class, both to fans and everywhere else. And I think that's going to dovetail really nicely with United having the space to give her time. Like, I think she possibly with you. I think she's on the way to being world class. I don't think she's there yet, but that's not a criticism because, if she was there yet at 22, where else is she going to go? She's growing with the right speed with us. And I think what's so good about it is we've got a player who is actually a United fan, through and through. Almost, some people on here that you split you guys in half, you bleed United, and I think that I'm getting there as well. I think that is exactly what she is. So if we did get a situation, I don't know, money's money. I'm just not putting words in her mouth, but if it was 50-50, and if she got an offer to play for Lyon or stay with us, I think she might stay with us. I know it sounds a bit like dreamy or whatever, but I think she knows she's got the support and she's got the playing time, and that's the important thing. And especially when it comes to England, because obviously England's on the ascendancy as well. And you've seen so many players that have warmed the bench for some of these Champions League clubs. And to be honest, I think we're going to be one next year anyway in the third position. I think we're going to scrape third, But as I say, I think that she's a United fan, and I know football's professional and all that kind of thing, but that's got to give you an extra 10%, 20%, and I think that should keep her here for a long time.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think one thing that you just talked to, I'm seeing in the comments people saying we don't name her anymore. Vicky, I don't name her, not name player. It's a bad name, but I think it's because she when she played Tobin, sorry, I'm going to name her, she gave everything, and she was that kind of, we fell in love with her instantly because she was so good, but she was like grabbing the badge, kissing it and all that. And, like you say, Toone is Manchester. She bleeds, red, white and black. And, Craney talks about knowing a family, and I'm lucky to know a bit of a family in there. They're hardcore Reds, the dad especially. And we even talk about Bruno, and, I even said a joke, and she was like, he watches me, not the other way around kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, we watched that, and then she scored that one, and, it's all that kind of thing. And I just want to talk on Craney. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Craney, but it's not on the spot. And just Craney, the way that Toone has just changed as a person with the fans, the way she is. I mean, that video that we saw before we started talking, she was there dancing to it. And the Toone that we saw in 2018, she wouldn't have danced to nothing. And I think she was sort of like describing me at Villa as that mad lady in the corner. And then I think we were on the bus, me, you, Benny, and a few others, Charlton, that got called off. And she's like, you madheads and all this, you Barmy Army madheads. And sorry if you can hear the sirens living in Salford, that is. Toone and the fans and the love and she's come out of a shell massively. I mean, I think they all have. They all sort of now and then look at Mark, Red Wave, whatever. But Toone, from that little baby, I call her, and then I actually called her, oh, baby Toone. Don't call. I'm not a baby. But she was that little shy girl, and now it's like boom, 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 singing Leah Galton's song, waving the flags in the air. I mean, it's mad, isn't it? Matt, it's mad.
It is funny, I always relate back to that story about you, and this was before I knew you. It was just the funniest thing ever because she come in the PE office, and obviously she'd signed for United in that summer, and she was absolutely like bouncing off the walls. And I remember, like I say, that Villa game, pre-knowing you, and you, I think I was behind the goal under, it was like that brick roof thing, wasn't it, at the old Villa ground, and you were in the far corner, and she got a goal, and I remember would have been, I think, the Tuesday, as the game was on the Sunday, and she come in, she said, what do you make of that? And it's sort of, having a chat as you do, and she said, it was mad. She said, did you see that crazy pissed up lady in the corner? And I just remember thinking, yeah. Just like I say, because we didn't know each other, I just started laughing. And she was like, oh yeah, it was sick that. She's like, she's just on her own going on a mad one. And I was just like crying, laughing, like thinking, yeah, she was like literally like, obviously, like I say, now we know, what each other's like, but obviously back then it was quite rare. And obviously, like, it being our first official game, nobody knew each other like we do now. And I think I told you the story, didn't I, Nat, when I got to know you a bit better. So just in case you took offense, but I think it was just funny, you know, like I say, it just made me laugh so much because she'd always reference that, and that was the first thing that kind of stuck out in her head, that how sort of mad we are. And like you say, that postponed Charlton game, obviously was it 10 minutes in, if that. And she was like, we telling the story that we got there at something ridiculous, like 9 o'clock for a 2 o'clock kickoff. And she was like, oh, you're all mad. You're all off your heads. And I think she probably knew from sort of learning from you, Nat, and giving that support. And like you say, you know, she said, oh, yeah, you're all mad heads. I'm going to call you that now. Your fan group's nicknamed as the Mad Heads, not the Barmy Army. And that's when we got the flag, didn't we, Mad Heads on tour. But yeah, I could sit here for another hour easily and tell you stories about this. Yeah. Just to wrap it, she has like massively come out of a shell. And I remember LJ was the same. LJ was like a quiet 16-year-old, and she used to like sneak in and give a little wave like that. And then slowly they get used to us and grow into it. And yeah, this is what people don't get. Like, people see Toone now, and I think sort of living for bits with Millie and being around people that are a little bit crazy and out there has really sort of brought her out of a shell and sort of a confidence, because she, like you say, she's gone from this quiet little teenager to this confident 22-year-old that's now absolutely smashing everything.
Go on, Andy. I see you want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to just sort of build on everything and what Connor was saying as well. Like, I think you look in the women's game, even at the top, not as much at the right top, but sort of towards the top of the league, you do have a heck of a lot of sort of player turnover, and I think a lot of teams can struggle. And I think that one of the exciting things about the idea of, you know, building a team around her is that could give us that stability to keep, you know, class bleeds class, success be success, to start building and bringing people up. And we've got so much potential in our actual devs and within our younger squad players as well. I think one of the benefits of Toone is that, you know, she's going to just go one way at the minute. She's going to get better and better and better, and she's going to pull people through. And you already kind of see that. You know, you see her talking to Ivana, you see her talking to Karis Jones, you know, and on these kind of things. And that's how, you know, people get brought on. And I think the key for United, you know, especially making that jump from the 4th position to the 3rd position, I think it's about us adding value to what we've got as well as bringing people in. And sometimes, you know, it can take a while to appear. I mean, you guys said at the beginning that, you know, none of us really had her, you know, we saw her great potential, but she wasn't like our top player initially in the first season, but she's come through, and I genuinely think she's going to be the first of many. And that's really exciting as a United fan.
Yeah, no, 100%. I totally agree with what you're saying, and I'm seeing people saying about, oh, do you think she'll ever go abroad? But I think, you know, well, we should be doing everything to make sure she's staying at home. And I just want to add on this. I don't think I was. I think I was on Bears just. But I don't know. I
into that fence.
I was on Bears.
I want to add something again quickly, right? Nat sober is basically the same as anyone else drunk. So trust me, she's you know, passionate, and obviously you've got us all passionate as well. So yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Sober, drunk, anywhere in between, you bring it. So that's it.
I think she was right. I was maybe a bit pissed up, but like I said, I think she realised that that's just the way I am.
It's no wonder they were frightened to death to come over to some of us at the start, but now we got there in the end.
I'm thinking like early start for Spurs as well. You think they're impressed? It's bloody 12:15 kickoff, isn't it? So
that's the way days for you. Pack the beer at 6 a.m, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's a true away day. Listen, I just want to listen. Yeah. Right, I don't know what anyone else, but yeah, we've been going an hour, 5 minutes. I can see little conversations starting, but I think if we start up new things, we'll be going for another hour. But I just want to say thanks to everyone for joining us. Obviously, John in the background, and Matt, Benny, Andy, Connor. Thanks for coming on and just sharing the love, and you know, anything else anyone wants to say. Obviously, Matt, talk about your show Tuesday. And I'll just say again, and then we'll go through.
Yeah, so
the whole
obviously,
week.
Tomorrow, obviously, you're joining me with Gareth and Anthony. yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about sort of FA Cup semi, the shambolic attendances and atmospheres, because I feel that that's important. I know you've been sort of chatting on that, Nat, as well on sort of Twitter. So yeah, chat about that, chat about the championship results, and there's a couple of teams that are still going strong in there. Have a little chat about Spurs as well. So yeah, come and join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. for that one.
Gareth's got a show midday going up with Marisha from Arsenal, so I know he's going to talk. I know we sort of talked about Jonas, but I think they're going to go into a bit more detail on that. Then obviously Wednesday, if you weren't on before, but big one, OG21, number 12, we were it then, Naomi Hartley, you know, banging defender. Ben and Matt watched it yesterday. Tune into that on Wednesday. You know, as we said, one of the biggest shows on Alpha United, ex-United player. So that's on Wednesday. Thursday's show, it's me and John, and we've got Rich Laverty on, and we're actually going to talk about a player that we watched for Sheffield. So that's a good one. Connor, you know what we're on about, and Andy, you were there at Sheffield, so we're going to talk about Lucy Watson and talk a bit around that. So yeah, definitely check out that. I saw you on mute, Connor. Then
I was going to shout out Tara Murray, centre back.
Right.
Not under the radar.
Lucy Watson. That's one that we all should be watching.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. If you can, if you can shine on if you can shine on a pitch when you're losing 5-1, that shows that you got to keep an eye. But she's
17 years old.
Really good.
Yeah,
really
forget
good.
these ex-Liverpool players, Connor. We can't be shouting them out, lad. I'm sorry.
All right. But Lucy Watson, mate, I'm telling you, 17 years old, and she is third top goal scorer in the Championship. Are you mad? Anyway, that's that. And then Friday, Fans Forum, and we got Anthony's Odds On show. Saturday, Ben and Matt again. I'm guessing we'll just wait and see what happens. And then, obviously, bang, match day. Yeah, unless we've got a topic, Ben, or we'll wait and see.
Not yet. We'll wait and see, as we always do.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of them that we just chat, isn't it? It's just chat.
Yeah.
Anyway, stay tuned. Thanks everyone for joining us. Much love. Mwah.